Welcome to Chapter 2 of your Moodle tour. This is your home page, and we need to look at a number of items that are on this home page that will be of great assistance to you, both getting started but also in the future. You will notice that there's a number of ways you'll be able to navigate around your Moodle. Across the top here are tabs or breadcrumbs that will be able to take you to the various places that you need to go to. If you go on the left-hand side here, there's also a navigation pod which you can block that you can unload, and just by clicking the arrow it can actually sit there if you want to keep it there. That's quite helpful in some places in the Moodle to aid your navigation, but you can also always return it, and you can also actually just put your cursor over it and you can access the navigation that way. There's your navigation block, which you can either have out or in. Along here is also your administration block, which is an important one. This is where you can unenroll yourself. If you accidentally do that, you'll need to use the enrolment key of Library 2015 to come back into the Moodle. You'll be completely disconnected. Your work will still sit there, so you don't need to worry, but when you re-enroll, your work will just reappear. But generally, you shouldn't need to unenroll yourself. This is important because this is where all your grades are recorded, and your teachers will put their feedback comments. Now, the student that I'm using here is just a make-believe student, so there's nothing in there, but when you go in, you will have, once you've enrolled in some of your units, you'll have your units in there and all the assessments that are required. And when you have sent work in to teachers, you can go in here, you'll see the assessment, the unit, the assessment, and you'll see your mark and your feedback from your teacher. Now, if you need to resubmit, we can talk about that later. Now, again, you can navigate in a number of ways. You can either go back there. In this case, I think the most efficient one is to go back to your home page via here. If you accidentally go to My Home, that will take you right out of the Moodle, and you'll need to come back into it again. We are back on the home page of the Moodle. In your administration block, there's also a profile setting. Now, in this, you can go in and you can edit your profile. So if you go in here and you want to take out the email address, all material will default to your TAFE email address. So if you're happy with that, that's fine. If you want to use your personal email address, you will need to take that out and put in your personal email address, and make sure that you go down to the bottom and update your profile. By doing that, then you'll just be taken back. So we can go to our navigation again and go back to our home page. There's also a calendar, which from time I will be putting dates of things like our Adobe Connect sessions on your calendar, so that you can check on that from time to time, and they'll be highlighted on that, and also latest news. Now, it's important that you, once you're into your Moodle, that you don't just always go straight to your certificate, that sometimes you come back to this home page, because you'll see why. I often, if there's maintenance being done, I'll put it in this latest news blog and just alert you, or if there's something of interest that's come in that I want to share with you, I'll put it in here. I often also put it on our Facebook page as well, just so that as many people as possible can see it. So they're the blocks. As you can see, you can either have them docked, or you can have them out showing, or just by running your cursor over, they will come out. Now, on this home page, I'll walk you through how to get started, and it's very important that you follow each step so that you miss things and then find yourself getting anxious. Firstly, I'll remind you that on the actual TAFE Western homepage, there's a welcome, a user guide and technical requirements. Now the user guide and technical requirements I will have sent to you in an email with your welcome letter, but I would suggest if you haven't done that, there's a link just that will take you back there so that you can actually go through that welcome presentation, which will give you some other information about using the Moodle. Obviously, you're watching this, you've accessed the Moodle tour and you'll see that they're in chapters so that you can go specifically to what area you need assistance. And you can have that open and stop it, the recording, and actually do what you've been directed to. I hope you find that helpful. There's a number of things that you then need to do. One of the most important things on this homepage is to go into your induction and go through the material. There's something for you to view, an overview of what we're on about. There's some information you need to access. You can download a student information guide, and it's essential that you acknowledge that you've received this induction. That means you actually put your mark there and save your choice. If you don't do that, you will be unable to access the next piece of information that we need. Now I'm just going to go to the navigation, take us to our home page. If you haven't acknowledged this induction, it will be locked and you won't be able to access the course assessment guide or CAGS. You need to go down this to your specific certificate that you're working on, whether it's Certificate 3, Certificate 4 or Diploma, and you can open the first CAG and have a read, and then click on the second one, which is your acknowledgement. And again, this is really important that you click and save your results, because if you don't do that, you will be unable to open your actual certificate and quite a number of information. Now I went to the Certificate 4 there. If I go to the Certificate 3 one, you'll see that it hasn't been acknowledged. So I need to click that, save my choice, and then I can go back to the home page. Now there's another important piece of information here. It's in book form. It's an orientation guide, and you need to open this up, and it's in a whole range of chapters. There's important information that you need to look at. For example, there's teachers' contact information. There's ways for you to communicate. There's what to do about your TAFE card, the student portal, changing your password, secret question, library access, time management, student software, referencing your work, assessment layout, and commenting on your assessment feedback to teachers. And there's some information there on 6 social learning needs in your e-learning environments, and then getting started. So you need to take time and go through each one of those. If you go to the getting started, I remind you that you need to do the induction, you need to do your course assessment guide, and that you need to get started from your home page and go to your particular certificate. So other information that's actually on this page that you need to be familiar with are not just your Moodle tour, but the quick links. Now under the quick links are a number, again, of staff contact details. Now I've got that in a number of places and students still seem to find it hard to find. So details for your staff contacts will be here for you. Sweeping Plains Virtual Library is a library that we've set up with tools for you to use with your course. Just waiting for that to load. Now sometimes the Moodle will be a bit slow, so just be patient, give it time to load. In here is Libero, which is our full library management system. There's directions here on how to use Libero, and then if you click on the Libero login, that will take you straight into Libero. And you should have received a username and a password for Libero. The OCLC is also another tool we use. The Content DM is particularly used for a couple of our units, and the website. So they are some tools that we have in there. And we can either use the back button, and that will take us back to our quick links. Job links, I have some links in there to job providers. I suggest you have a look there. Thesauri, just to keep us up to date. ALIA is our industry organisation. Now in here is information about ALIA and how to access ALIA, and also if you want to join ALIA as a student, which you don't have to, but if you wanted to, there's some special arrangements that we have with ALIA that you can avail yourself of cheaper membership fees. So make sure you have a look at that. Just some general internet sources, some databases for you, some cataloguing sources and library catalogues. Now the cataloguing sources are important in your cataloguing unit and a few of your other units. So there's some information here about WebGUI, and you can actually access WebGUI. I'll give you a password when you get to that. The RDA Toolkit, again, there's information on the password and what to use, and Libraries Australia, which is also, we use the training site there. So that's quite an important one to be aware of. So they're your quick links. If we go back to our home page, I also have a button there for your staff contacts directly. So as you can see, I've got already 1, 2, 3 different places just to try and help you to find it, but it's the button there on the home page. We have some course resources also available for you. Now, VoiceThread is a tool that we use instead of you writing all your answers, that you can actually record your responses and your teachers will mark your verbal responses. So there's some instructions here on how to use VoiceThread, and that's some written instructions and then some verbal instructions. And then there's also a test one where you can go in and actually have a go at that, and I'll talk more about that later. ZMaps just gives you an indication of where all the different students are located, so you can go in and have a look at those. These 2 forums are ones that are embedded also in some of your early units that you use, but also you can access them from here. The next 3 are just some general information that I've made available to you. This one's an infographic talking about, as librarians, what we're really on about and what our job is all about. So that's some general information that could be helpful to you. The other 2, this is a PowerPoint presentation on similar, just to encourage you in what librarians are doing in this one, on some social netiquette. Because we're using forums and online resources, we need to know the netiquette or etiquette rules for net use. So that there are 3 important ones for you to have a look at. The LibGuide is access to our libraries, and I'll be talking in detail specifically about that later. FitMe is an online referencing tool. There's more referencing material here, so that when you're doing your assessments, you are giving acknowledgement to where you're getting the information from, and again, we'll do some specific work on that. This Connect button is an important one because this is where our Adobe Connect material is. Information on the room and how to access it. There's printed directions and there's some other further directions, and this is where you can test that your site is, your computer is all set up for it. We also have a practice room here where you can go in and just have a fiddle around in that practice room. This one where Adobe Connect recorded sessions. This is where all previous recordings that we've done in 2014, and obviously that will be changing as I upgrade it to start your 2015 recordings. You can now access these, have a look, have a listen if you want to. Some of them will be a bit outdated just with the Moodle orientation because I've reorganised the Moodle. But you're quite at liberty to have a look at those. There's still some from 2012 and 2013 that I thought could be relevant. So just by clicking on that large icon there, you can access those. This is important, particularly when we start our Adobe Connect sessions. If you're unable to attend, the recording will be put up there as soon as the session is finished, so that you, in your own time, can actually listen and feel a part and know that you're not missing out on important information. So that is a very important button to be aware of what it is and where it's located. So they are your course resources. I'll just go back into there because there were a couple that we didn't look at. Moodle Ease, there's a number of apps that will run your Moodle on your mobile devices. That's just one. There are others. Feel free to use whatever works for you on your mobile device. Books, I've just had a few students ask about bookshops related specific to libraries. There's not a lot there, but a little. This is a self-paced course on mobile things, which I would recommend that you sometime, not immediately, but sometime you actually work your way through, because it will equip you very well for working in libraries for this course and also just for your general knowledge. Also a link to our Facebook, which we have a closed group which you are welcome to become a member of. I don't make it compulsory, but I would suggest, if you can, to certainly do that, because it will keep you up to date. I do use it as a communication tool. A lot of professional material goes up on that to assist you. So that's your button there for your course resources. And there's one more there, which is a chat forum, which is open for you to use. I don't monitor it, and staff don't monitor it. It's purely for you to discuss things between yourselves. So feel free to use that if you would like to. So that's your home page. In your next chapter, we start with looking at your specific certificates, so we'll be accessing that from the home page.